Hello, I'm Mary Mulard and welcome to the Lecom Healthy Living Kitchen. It's the sweetest time of year for you and your special someone, and I'm here to help you celebrate in a healthy way. I think most of us tend to avoid the sweeter treats when trying to eat healthy, but that doesn't always have to be the case. In this episode, we'll be visiting WQLN's second annual Chocolate Sundae Festival to talk to Pulakos Chocolates and get an inside peek at how they make their sweet delights. Then I'll show you how to make a sweet treat of your own with a personal favorite of mine, a gluten-free chocolate cake. Finally, I'll help bring out the chef in all of us as we bake up a chocolate souffle with a pistachio custard cream sauce. It's healthy cooking done tastefully. So let's get cooking. So today's healthy living kitchen recipe is healthy living in moderation. We're doing something special for today's holiday. Notice the bling here. I borrowed it from Elizabeth Taylor. But we are doing a flourless chocolate cake, which is rich and truffle-like, really good. It's gluten-free. Yes, it does have eggs and sugar and heavy cream, but again, this cake, it's a 9-inch cake, serves a lot of people. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we have about 10 ounces of bittersweet chocolate that we have chopped up into morsels. We're gonna go ahead, I have the bowl to my mixer set in a pan of simmering water. The bowl is not gonna touch the water. So we're gonna go ahead, set it in. We are gonna add our 10 ounces of bittersweet chocolate, and we are going to add 1/3 cup of water. And we are just going to keep that over simmering water, and we're gonna stir it. We can use a whisk or a spatula, and we're just gonna stir it until it's completely melted. Once it is melted, we're gonna take it off the heat, take it off the water, and we're just gonna let it sit till it comes to room temperature so it's not so hot anymore, okay? So in the meantime, I wanna prepare my pan for this recipe. Move this over here. And I have a 9-inch cake pan. I am using a non-stick. If you have a stick, that's fine, because we're gonna go ahead and spray it. And we're gonna line it with parchment paper. And this is really simple to do. And we're just setting the pan on the parchment paper, taking a pencil, outlining the shape of the pan, the bottom of the pan. We're gonna go ahead and cut it out. And this will make the removal from the pan much, much easier. Finish cutting the circle there. And I'm gonna spray the pan with a little bit of vegetable spray first. You wanna get the sides. It's really best to do it over your sink, not to make a mess. And then you're gonna put the parchment round in, and the side where the pencil shows, if it does show at all, you're gonna put that down. And then you're just gonna give it another little spray. Beautiful. Your pan is ready, and you're gonna have your oven preheated. Now in the meantime, your chocolate is melting, and I wanna get the eggs ready for the next step. So I actually have the chocolate and the water that melted, and it is room temperature, so it's ready to go for that part of the recipe. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put another bowl on top of it's like a double boiler. You can use one of those at home if you'd like. I'm gonna add, this is a big one. This is a lot bigger than my mixer at home, but this should be fine. I'm gonna add 5 eggs, and then I'm gonna add some sugar. I think it's about a 1/2 cup of sugar, approximately, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna add all of those in here, and you want to warm them up. So you're just trying to warm them up, and you'll see what happens when you start mixing these in the blender. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my 1/2 cup sugar, and let me see, my 1/2 cup sugar that was in the refrigerator, so it's a little chunky. It's all right. Whoop. Did you get that? Okay. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Go ahead and put those in there. And I just want to wipe off my stove top. Great. Now, once they're in the bowl, you want to go ahead and whisk them up, whisk them together. And if the camera overhead is noticing the volume on these eggs right now, pretty low, small volume. And once they get warm, we can go ahead and put them in this mixer and whip them up. And they just, oh, it's beautiful. It's kind of like a blown insulation in a house, actually. So you just want to kind of whisk this and over the simmering water, again, until the eggs get hot. So the eggs and the sugar and a little bit of salt are warm, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer it over to the blender. And I guess I should take off my, you're going to use the whisk or whip attachment, this one. And you want them to be tripled in volume. You want the eggs to be tripled in volume. So you'll see that they're kind of dark yellow now, and they're going to get light yellow and very voluminous. Help me out here. So this will just take a couple minutes. It takes about 3 minutes to get to that point. We're going to have our cake pan ready. We have our chocolate, and we have some whipped cream that we're going to fold in. So these are voluminous. Look at these. It's beautiful. They're fluffy. They've gone at least 3 times their volume. And at this point, what we're going to do is you can use your, actually I should take that out here. You can use your spatula to fold in the chocolate. The chocolate is pretty room temperature, so it's a little thick, but it is not hard. So I'm just going to stir that up a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and use the whisk attachment to kind of whisk that in, fold it in. I can put it right into the eggs, and there we go. I'll go ahead and just use the whisk attachment in my hand and kind of blend them together, and you'll see the chocolate starting to appear. Beautiful. And you're just kind of folding it in with the attachment. Okay, nice. And then at this point, we had, I think, about 2/3 cup of heavy cream, and we whipped that. It's cold, heavy cream. There's no sugar, no salt added to it, just until about firm peaks form. And we're going to go ahead and put that in. And again, I think I'm going to use my whisk to fold this in. I'm sorry, my spatula, and just kind of gently fold it in until it's combined. You don't want to overbeat it because this is what will give it the cake nice texture. There, if you can see it from the camera above, it looks a little bit marbleized. This is actually a very simple cake. You just have to figure the logistics with all of your beaters between the eggs and the whipped cream, your beaters and your double boiler. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put the cake batter into the cake pan, the prepared cake pan. That is just really so pretty. I mean, I really think this is pretty. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And it's amazing, this cake turns out so delicious and there's no flour in it. Just going to use the top of my spatula, kind of smooth out the top. And we are going to put it into a baking pan. And you want it, the baking pan deep enough, because what we're gonna do is put some hot water in, and it's called a water bath or a bain-marie. So I have some hot water here, and you wanna fill it up about halfway up to the side of the pan, sides of the pan. And you're gonna put it in the oven, the preheated 350-degree oven, for about, I think I said 45 to 50 minutes. So we'll see you in a second. So the cake came out of the oven, and I cooled it in the pan for about 25 minutes, ran a knife around the pan to loosen it, turned it over onto one of these cake boards that you can buy at your craft store. These are really handy. You could turn it right onto a cooling rack just like this if you'd like. I think these are really handy and a lot easier to work with. In the meantime, I've taken, I'm gonna say about 3 ounces of chocolate, bittersweet chocolate again, and this is the Glaze. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that on top of the cake. The cake was in the refrigerator for about 2 hours before I glazed it. So we didn't get to see all that on camera. There we go. And I am going to use a serrated cake knife because I left my cake spatula at home, but I'm just gonna kind of try to spread that in. This is not the best tool, but this cake will be delicious no matter what tool you use. I love after dinner to have something delicious and chocolatey. Really, this 9-inch cake could serve 12 people easily because it's so rich, and we're gonna serve it with a little bit of whipped cream and some fresh strawberries. I'll go ahead and garnish it right now with the strawberries, put the strawberries around the top. I think I called these strawberries. These are raspberries. They're raspberries. But you could use any fruit. You could make like a fresh fruit compote. Just chop up some strawberries, some raspberries, some blueberries, mango. You could serve it with any fruit that's in season. You could even do oranges. I'm just gonna serve it with a plain whipped cream today. But we're gonna go ahead and put this in the refrigerator and set it so we can slice a piece and eat it. Just take one more look. It looks so good. So our flourless chocolate torte is ready to be served. We have the raspberries on the top. I made some fresh whipped cream. This is heavy whipping cream. It's about a cup of heavy whipping cream, about a tablespoon of granulated sugar, and about a teaspoon of vanilla. And you just blend those. You get soft peaks in your mixer, and it's a great accompaniment. You could also use a little raspberry flavored liqueur in the whipped cream instead of the vanilla. That might bring out the raspberries on top. I'm gonna go ahead and slice it and serve it because we have some hungry people here. It's very dense. It is like eating a piece of chocolate truffle, I must say. It's like eating a chocolate truffle cake. All right, here we go. And just with a dollop of whipped cream. Now that is a nice way to end your dinner. Enjoy. So we are at WQLN's second annual Chocolate Sunday. What a great event. And I'm here with Joe Hilbert from Pulakos Chocolates. So thank you, Joe, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So now, Erie is known for many things, our beautiful state park, our lovely beaches, and also chocolate. And Pulakos is one of those Erie institutions. So tell me a little bit about the history of Pulakos.
Pulakos started in Erie in 1903 by George P. Pulakos.
Okay.
And there were 4 generations of Pulakos that ran it up until the time I purchased the company in 2009.
Now, I know you just opened up a new store, and tell me about that venture for you guys. I think that's a great location. I hope it's been successful.
Yes, it's a leap of faith. You know, we want to get back into downtown Erie, and it's a nice area. There's a lot of, it's a downtown fun place to go for a break during the day. We have our gourmet, locally roasted gourmet coffees. We have our chocolates and baked goods. We have places to sit down and rest inside. And this summer we'll be opening up our patio for outdoor activities and fun.
It's a beautiful, quaint location. So tell me, what do you think makes Pulakos chocolate special? Makes it different? Makes it delicious?
Our milk chocolate is a little bit of a darker milk chocolate.
Okay.
Pulakos has always been known for its flavor profile, and it's darker, but it's not a dark chocolate. We do have our dark chocolates, but our chocolate really blends well with our sweeter centers. So we continue to have fun things like that. And we innovate, we develop, and there'll be more of that.
Wonderful. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for joining WQLN and Chocolate Sunday, and we hope that you're here next year.
Thank you. We plan to be.
All right,
Thanks.
great. I just returned from WQLN's Chocolate Sunday. It was a wonderful event, lots of fabulous chocolate vendors. I interviewed Pulakos Chocolate, which is one of Erie's long-standing institutions, and I got inspired. So today I thought I'd do a very classic dessert. Some of you might be a little fearful of souffles, but I'm gonna make a warm chocolate souffle with a pistachio custard sauce. So we're gonna start by, I already prepped the bowls for the souffles. I'm using 6-ounce ramekins, and I just, with a brush, put some butter on the inside and then put sugar and got out the excess sugar. So these are all set. We have 6 ramekins ready. I'm gonna make the pistachio custard sauce. So what I did was, actually, it's kind of hard to find the shelled pistachios, so I took them in the shell, had my kids shell them for me. It's about a cup of pistachios. Once they're shelled, I toasted them in the oven, about 5 minutes at 350 degrees, and then cooled them off and put them in the food processor until they're a fine kind of powdered pistachios. So we're gonna go ahead and add a cup of heavy cream to our pan and a cup of milk as well. Now, you know, talking about healthy living, I am a firm believer everything in moderation. So we can't completely omit things that we love, that we crave out of our lives unless they are really completely unhealthy for us. So just have them in moderation, smaller portions. And this is a real treat, the souffle. So we're gonna go ahead, we put the milk and the cream in here, and we are adding the pistachios, and we are also adding some sugar. And we are gonna go ahead and mix those in, and we're gonna bring it just up to a boil, and then we're gonna put a cover on it, and we're gonna let it infuse for a few minutes, just so the flavor of the pistachio really gets into the cream. Okay, so the pistachio cream has been infusing for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit, you know what, I have some egg yolks here, 5 egg yolks. Just gonna mix them up a little bit. Gonna add a little bit of the cream. Just to, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add it all back into the cream mixture that's here on the stove. And this is called a custard sauce, otherwise known as a crème anglaise. And this is really the basis for ice cream, believe it or not. So when you go out there and look at your ice cream ingredients, it really should say milk or cream, sugar, and some kind of natural flavoring, pistachio, vanilla, and that is really the basis for a good ice cream. Okay, so at this point we have it on medium-low. You do not want it to boil. You just want it to get thick and cook the egg. You don't want to curdle the egg, so you have to be careful. Use a wooden spoon or a spatula and do a figure 8, just as I'm doing. And when you can draw a line kind of like this on the spatula, your custard sauce is ready. I'm just gonna give it another minute and we're gonna go ahead and strain it. So, let me see. Here is my bowl and I have a strainer. So this is looking good. Very rich. Yeah. So, and it's not really dripping down in there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, strain it through a fine mesh strainer so you can get the pistachios out. It just looks prettier. If you really want to keep the nuts in, you can do that as well. But this just kind of refines the sauce and the dessert a little bit more. And just push it through with your spatula. You can see under there. And what you want to do is, if you want to use this in a relatively short time, you want to go ahead and put it on a bowl of ice water. Make sure no water splashes in. Or cover it with film wrap. If you're not going to use it for a little while, just put the film wrap directly on top of the custard cream and put it in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. You can make this a day ahead of time and it's ready to go. And if you end up not making the souffle, then just put it in your ice cream maker and have pistachio ice cream, which sounds delicious. Okay, so just gonna try to get the last of all these good juices out of the pistachios. And I think that's pretty darn good. Give that. And we're gonna go ahead and put this over a bowl of ice water and we're gonna start the souffle. So for the chocolate souffle, you wanna melt about 10 ounces of bittersweet chocolate over, again, a water bath or bain-marie where the water is just simmering, it's not boiling, and you don't want the bottom of your pan to be touching the water, okay? So you put the chocolate in here with half a cup of heavy cream and a pinch of salt. And once it's melted, and I have melted this already, you are going to add 2 egg yolks to it. We're gonna take it right off the heat and add 2 egg yolks. Okay, my whisk here, my handy dandy whisk. So this is the base of the souffle. And what we're gonna do next is whip some egg whites and fold those in and then fill up the souffle cups. So souffles are a little bit particular, but they're not hard. Okay, so I've added the egg yolk. Great. And I have 6 egg whites right here. And when you separate an egg, for any time that you're gonna beat egg whites and you want them to, if you're making a meringue or for a souffle, you wanna make sure that none of the yolk gets into the egg white. So you have to be really careful or else they will not expand and get fluffy and white. So you have to make sure your bowls are clean, that there's no grease, butter from a previous recipe, anything in your bowls or on your whisk. And we're gonna go ahead and add our room temperature egg whites to the bowl. We're gonna add about a half a cup of sugar. And again, a pinch of salt. We're gonna put our wire whisk attachment. Actually, I should have beat those egg whites till they got a little bit of volume and then added the sugar. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're gonna beat them on high. And they should get light and fluffy. It's gonna take a couple minutes. These look just about ready. So you want some stiff peaks to form. Here, let me see if I can get this off. Okay, they're great. Just call me smooth. Okay, so you can see they're nice and stiff. Stiff Peaks lemon meringue pie. I'm gonna go ahead and take 1 scoop of this and I'm gonna mix it into my chocolate and just kind of loosen up the chocolate a little bit. And then the remainder of it, I'm gonna go ahead and fold in with a spatula. So this kind of just loosens it and lightens it. Nice. Okay. And I'll go ahead and fold in the rest of it. Oh, that looks beautiful. So, there we go. And you can see I'm just kind of cutting through the batter. And I'm not stirring it like a big pot of soup. I'm just cutting through with my rubber spatula. And the egg whites are what are gonna help the soufflés, make the soufflés rise. Because without them, you have a very dense base of chocolate and egg yolks and sugar. So it's the egg whites. I'm gonna get the rest of that out of there and I'll move this out of the way. Set that right there. And again, just continue to fold it in. Nice. And it's okay if it looks a little marbleized and not completely homogeneous. All right. Soufflés really are a special treat. So do it for the one you love, do it for your kids, your honey, or do it for yourself. So let me get these right in the bowl. I think I'm gonna get a spoon to do this. All right. So, now let's see what we got here. We'll fill these up. Yeah, this is fine. A little bit bigger of a spoon would have been nice, but this is good, and we're gonna fill them right up to the top. Okay, so let me just, I think I can get a little more in this one. You guys all hurry, you can get down here and have one of these when they come out of the oven. All right, so let me see. All right, so this one's a little messy, want to clean him up. Okay, now one trick that a chef once told me is just use your thumb and go around the side of the ramekin to loosen it, loosen the edge of the souffle. So I'm gonna do that on all of them. So I put my thumb around all of them. They are ready to go in the oven. You can put them on a baking sheet. I'm using this roasting pan right now. We're gonna put them in the oven for about 15 minutes at 400 degrees, so we'll check it out. And now, for the magical time of getting the soufflés out of the oven. So let's cross our fingers, see what happens. They look very beautiful. And at this point, you could, well, you want to be very careful. I'm going to use my little flat spatula here. And you could dust them with a little confectioner's sugar, but better yet, put a little hole in the top and go ahead and pour your pistachio custard cream. And that is a treat. I love it, enjoy it, and happy Valentine's Day.
Get your recipes today at cookhealthytoday.com.